Well, g'day guys, and welcome to another video for this desert preparation series. I'm sitting here in my garage. I'm happy that most of the parts that I've ordered for the KTM 690 have arrived, including those rocker arms, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get into the bike, pull it apart, and have a look at the old rocker arms and see if we can swap them out with the new ones. Rightio, so these are most of the parts that I've ordered. Obviously the 10W60 oil for the bike, a large and a small oil filter, a new battery, new chain, some rim tape for that rear wheel, a couple of little extras for the other bike, a bit of bead buddy and some fork pressure reliefs. However, these are the parts that we're going to concern ourselves with today, being the rocker arms. So the two rocker arms are genuine KTM parts. Made in Austria. I ordered both these arms from Pro Cycles here in Sydney. They sell KTM and BMW, so that's where my parts are from. So this one here is a intake, as you can see, and the part number on the top. So we'll have a look at that later. And here is the exhaust, also with the part number at the top. Both genuine KTM. Hopefully they do the job. Alright, first things first is getting the bike in a position to work on it, accessing both sides. The bike is on one of those scissor lifts jacks, which is really good because it's got the casters on the bottom, so you can move the bike around in the workshop. However, having the wheels on the bottom does elevate the jack up, 60-70 mil, and therefore you can't get it under the bike. You've got to physically lift the bike up onto the jack when it's in its lowest position. So pros and cons for having wheels, but anyway, it does me. So yeah, let's move it in position. So with my KTM 690, I've got a lot of modifications and extras added to the bike, being these two Rally Raid tanks on either side, 5 litres in total, some fairing, the crash bars. I've also got a aftermarket air filter in there, so they've all got to come off before I can actually get access to the rocker arms. So I'll quickly get all that off and get it to the stage where I believe that every 690 would be in the same position if you're going to change your rocker arms, no matter what's happening on the outside of the bike. So to remove the crash bars, we have 4 bolts, one into the engine there, one going straight through and onto a nylock nut on the other side there, and obviously this side is mirrored. So we'll get into that now. I've got a socket, a 30mm socket on the other side to stop that nylock nut from spinning. Nuts out, completely through the engine out to the other side. I may need a pin punch just to give it a tap to bring that nut out. So I'll take the other ones out. You can see a little bit of tension on that. All right, we'll do the other side. Tight old fit. Now the crash bars can come off. And the crash bars are off. Couple little spaces, need to remember. They're the same, so they can go back in either side. And the spaces off the tank. To get these tanks off, I still need to remove the 2 bolts that are holding the fairing on to the tanks. I do that on both sides again. So whatever I'm doing on this side is mirrored on the other side. And that should be able to just flex out of the way, enough for me to get access to that. It'll be interesting to see the condition of these tanks and how they are. They haven't been pulled off in quite a while, so just get that space around. You can see that fuel line in there. Now, lucky enough, it's a quick release. Just push on that, and that's it out. Oops, so that's one fuel tank that's off, and you can see the quick release valve system there. A little bit of fuel in there, not much at all. All right, we'll put that aside and start to get to work on the top. I'll do the other side. So both tanks are off. I have the seat off now, and you can see my aftermarket air filter. This is a ROCKER air filter, really good product from the USA. It's got a filter skin on there at the moment, and there's also a little bag that once you remove the stock standard air filter, you have a huge cavity at the front here that you can utilize for space. I've got maybe a pump in there and a tube and other bits and pieces. You can kind of see in there spare fuel lines and so forth. Yeah, so we'll get taking that out now, and I'll remove that, and pretty much once I've got this out and that out, that will be at a state that most 690s would probably be in once they are ready to work on the rocker arms. This air filter is held on by two little quarter turn kind of bolts. Simply undo those and just caught on this side. There we go. It's off. Have a look inside. Still nice and clean in there. So the skin and the filter's doing its job. Happy with that. So the air filter bracket, the ROCKER one, has to come off. It's bolted on to a couple of mounts there, and also you do have the rubber boot going down inside there. You can see the bolt there that bolts onto, yeah, what is it? Well, it's not a carburetor, but the fuel injection system. I think I'm gonna have to take these covers off so I can get access in there. So a couple more bolts for the steg pegs. Another thing I like doing is when I remove a bolt from its location, I try and put it back together with the spacers and screw it back into the same thread. That way possibly I won't lose it, and or makes it easier when I'm putting it back together. So I'll just leave that there and I'll do the other side. Just got a glove here, and that will do the trick for now. That'll stop anything from going down in there whilst I take that off. Now we just have the two bolts on either side. Get that out. Oop, I'll drop that. And move around to the other side, do the same. So you can see the rubber hose running down and inside, and that's the hose clamp. Okay, that is definitely loose now. I've given this area a bit of a blowout. I've tried to wipe as much dust away as possible. Hopefully I can pop this off there. Yeah, there we go. Got a couple of hoses, one there and a cord here to disconnect, and that'll be out. I've got to be careful now that I don't drop anything and any muck that goes down in there. Rightio, we can disconnect that. That's it, pull this hose off. You should be able to feed that out. And that is that out and done. And you can also see I've completely blocked that off to try and prevent anything from getting in there. Next we'll take out is the bag. Rightio, I'll show you what's in the bag while we're at it anyway. So a little bit of extra breather hose, some emergency fuel line if needed, a biker bits, a punch repair kit, it's really coming out, some disposable gloves, a stop and go mini air compressor. Now that's still handy, good condition. And I got a, I think it's an 18 or a 21 inch tube. It might be a 21. It's the one that you can use in either. I just can't remember. Some cable ties, some levers, some nuts and bolts, hose clamps, a thermo switch, some washers, just odds and ends if needed. And wow, more cable ties. You know, you can do a lot with these things in a rag. That's it. So that bag should just lift out now. Just gotta remember how, if I've got it cable tied in. I don't think I have. And there we go. That's the bag out. Okay, I believe I'm really close to it being at a standard 690 kind of state without any modifications. So I've removed, as you would have seen, all the parts that I've added to it, and now I've pretty much exposed the top of the rocker cover and ready to take that out. However, there's a couple of hoses, some breather hoses, one at the bottom of the engine and one going at the top of the engine, and they run up to this canister on the side here, and I just can't remember for the life of me. I know it's not original, I know it's not stock. When it was installed, I think I did it maybe with the rally raid tanks. I don't think it was with the air filter modification. So I'm pretty sure that they need to come off or swung out of the way or something, just so we can expose this rocker header a lot more and a lot easier to remove that. So I'll bring you over for a closer look and we'll go from there. These are the two breather hoses, this one here and this one here. This one runs down into the bottom of the engine, comes up and into this canister here, and then the other one runs into the top of the engine, and again it flows into this canister here. So I want to remove this canister. It's just one screw on the top there, and see if I can swing that out of the way. I might be able to obviously pull that off with that clamp and then do something with the other one. So I'll do that, and that's going to expose the rocker header, which has got the 4 bolts, 1, 2, and 3 and 4, and then I should be able to try and manipulate that out of the way. There might be some cables and other things I might need to get out of the way. So we'll do that now. So I'm pretty sure that a stock standard 690, the hoses wouldn't be in this position, as I've added this canister at some stage. So you'd be able to reroute your cables a bit differently to what I've got in order to get the rocker header out. So it's just a plastic clip, all right. Might be able to push it through, get it through there, and maybe out of the way that way. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, put this screw back in and I'll do that. So before I can move this out of the way, I think I need to disconnect this cable here and that hose. So I'm going to do that now. It's just a simple, oh, Jesus. And push that out of the way again. Push that back out of the way. Now it's just a matter of taking this breather hose off. These hose clamps, you just squeeze them, takes the tension off them, and hopefully now I can just pull that back off, and there we go. So now I can completely move that canister and that hose out of the way, and it's exposing the top of that. I'll give that a bit more of a clean. It's not too bad, I've already given it a clean, and then we can start undoing the bolts. I undid that cable there. Do you have to do it? Maybe not. I just thought it might make it a bit easier. So in its current state now, I would say that everything I'm doing from here on in, you would do on any 690 to replace the rocker arms. So yeah, I'll get a socket onto those nuts there, and we'll start seeing about getting that off. So on the rocker header, I've got the 4 bolts. I have one there, another one here, and the one in there. So a 10mm socket fits all those. Okay. So the first time I've done this, and they're not tight at all, so it's something to remember, and I will get the torque setting for that. it does fit in there. It's 2 done. Now we'll do the ones on the top. And that's it. So I'll take those 4 bolts out now. Quite a nice design bolt that. It's been machined and threaded. Very nice. And I'll take the 2 out of the bottom now. And I'll just make sure they're all the same, just to make sure we can't get them mixed up, which they are. And this one over here. A little bit awkward. Come out. Oh. That's that one. 4 bolts all the same. So it's the 4 out. Now we can try and wriggle that header off, the cover, rocker cover. All right, let's see if we can get this cover off. See how tight it is. It's loose. There we go. Just a little bit of pressure. Put it straight up. Wriggle it out, and she's out. Okay. Seal still looks like it's in this gasket seal thing in good condition. Put that aside. Whoops. Put that aside, and we'll come in for a closer look. So okay, first inspection of the rocker arms. There definitely is some wear and some marks on the 2 bearings there, both the exhaust and inlet or intake. So it'll be interesting to get them out and see how they are with the play in them. Just looking around, everything looks pretty good. It's reasonably clean. There's a little bit of dirt in around here, and a bit of dirt and sand and grit there, kind of thing. So I'll have to check the rocker cover for that and see what's happening on the corresponding joining parts. So there it is there. Yeah, you can see the dirt and sand and grime kind of in there, but it looks like the seal that's running around this cover is doing its job, and it's containing it just for that section there. So that's good. I'm not exactly sure what that is, a breather or I don't know. Someone else will know. I haven't researched that. So yeah, all right. Once we've done that, we then need to come over here and move this whole cam all the way around to get these 2 holes here at the bottom lined up to give us access to the rocker shafts, and so we can pull them out. All right, we'll start to get ready for that. All right, so now I need to take this little cover off here to expose the a position where I can turn the crank, turn the engine so this cam chain turns, and it will realign the 2 holes at the top here with the rocker arm shafts. So I'll get my driver. Oh, that's a problem. I've got a 12mm hex drive here, and this is bigger than 12mm. I'm going to have to find something to fit that, because I don't know, I don't think I have anything, and I don't want to go to a hardware store now. All right, I'll get back to you and work out what I'm going to do. Well, after digging around all my tools and having a look to see what I've got, I don't have anything, so I've come up with a solution. I found myself a coach bolt. I've measured the head of it, and I think it's 14mm, and it fits quite snug in there. So that's going to be my driver for today. Trusty pair of Stilsons, put them on there, and we'll see if we can get that undone. There we go. That gets me out of a jam, saves me going to a hardware store, and I didn't think this would be too tight being plastic. There we go. I'll bring you in for a closer look, and that's what we've got to turn. So now all I need is a socket to fit that, and I will turn that to realign that hole and that hole in the top position. I've had a look at the thread. It is a 13mm socket on here. So here we go. I've never done this before. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. It's turning, okay. Well, I guess I'm turning the engine. There's a bit of tension there. It's nearly lining up. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. And now you can see those holes are lined up, giving me access to the shafts in there. Excellent. All right, we'll get back on top of the bike now and keep going. So now I have 4 bolts that I need to remove, being 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're going through the rocker arm shafts and holding all this in place. So once I get those 4 out, I believe I use 2 of these longer bolts to remove the cam shaft. So let's do them undone now. So again, they're not extremely tight. They're firm, but not tight, as expected. So again, I'll find out the torque setting when I do them back up. 1 full thread. 2 full thread. And I believe these are the 2 longer ones. Yeah, so an extra 10-15mm longer. My hands are getting slippery. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. Live TV. Okay. Come on. There we go. All right. Let's get repositioned to the side now. So now you see why I had to line up these 2 holes here on the cam sprocket. So I can use the longer bolts now and screw that into the thread of the rocker arm shaft, and hopefully I can just pull that out. Oh, it's coming. There we go. I'll grab that rocker arm from the top, and that's it. That's a rocker arm removed. That's the inlet, and we will check those out in a tick. Let's do the same for the other side now. So using one of the bolts that we removed from the top, just getting it in there, half a dozen threads or so. That's it. It's definitely not tight. And then just giving it a bit of a pull. And out it comes. And there's the exhaust, rocker arm. All right, let's clean these up, take them over to the bench and have a look. Compare them to the new ones. So I might as well take the 2 shafts out and have a look at those, give them an inspection, make sure they're looking reasonably good condition. There seems to be, no, I can't see anything different in regards to a flat spot or anything which way they may go. I think they could be possibly hang on, there is a hole at the top, and I believe they go on the top. So yeah, actually there is a flat spot. There's a flat spot along the top there, and that goes on the top. So let's just have a look at the other one before I pull it. Yeah, so Again, a little bit of a flat spot. That hole is facing up. All right, so what I'll do though is I'll take the screw out of this one. So the one without a bolt in it, sorry, not a screw, the one without a bolt in it is the inlet. All right, let's go and clean them up, have a look. So another quick inspection without the rocker arms in, and everything looks pretty good. There doesn't seem to be any wear or marks on the cams. When I get the other ones in, I probably will check the valve clearances, but everything looks as it should so far. Let's go check those rocker arms out. So here we have all four rocker arms, being the old set, intake and exhaust, and a new set, intake and exhaust. So if I have a look at the old one, this is the first one, the intake. You can see some wear marks on there. Nothing out of the ordinary for a bike of the kilometres it's done. Inside looks really nice. It's definitely got some movement that way, and it's got a little bit of play going possibly the wrong way. So it's got play going that way, you know, rocking like that. That's expected. I don't think that is. So yeah, I'm no genius, I'm not 100% sure, but I just don't think it's supposed to have that. It's not much, it's still pretty good. And then moving to the exhaust again, you can see some, focus there, you can see some wear marks on the actual bearing itself. Not too bad. Inside looks really, really nice. This again, you can hear that it's got the play that way, which I think is normal. And when I do the other one, yeah, it's got a fraction, not much at all. That's pretty good. I was kind of half expecting it to be a bit worse than what it is. So, all right, if we come over now to the intake, brand new one, you can see, yeah, there's no wear on it. It too has the movement that way, but there's just, yeah, it's hardly anything going that way. There is just, yeah, it's a lot less that way compared to the old one and the new exhaust. So plenty of movement that way, definitely. And yeah, very small amount going the other way, hardly any. So there's not much difference between the two there. And that's it. So comparing the two, the old ones have a marking on there, SF17. Sorry, the old ones have SS14. The new ones have SF17. I don't know if that's an indicator to tell you which ones are new, or it's the date of manufacture. I don't know. It says M19 on the bottom. So not sure. All right. They're going to go in. They're staying out. I've got myself a couple of spares now. Cool. So now I'm just expecting the rocker arm shafts, and they look fine to me. Yeah, there is a little bit of wear on there. There's some light marks on them, but nothing that's out of the ordinary. I can't feel any grooves or anything in them. I can definitely see the ground flat spot on the top. So both the exhaust and this intake, yeah, look fine. I've never heard of these failing or needing replacement, as opposed to hearing plenty about the rocker arms that need replacement. So cool, let's give them all an oil and put them back in the bike. Okay, so I've got both the inlet, new rocker arm, and the shaft all cleaned up. I've just re-oiled it with just some new engine oil there I've got. So let's get this in place. So we'll get the shaft, making sure it's facing the right way up, flat spot up, this little hole here. And we'll get it in there, and it should just slide in nicely, which it does. And then we'll place in the new rocker arm. I've already checked to see if the shaft goes through, which it does. And just make sure that that is the right way up. And that's it. Making sure it's in so I can get the bolts back down through that shaft. And that's all that's needed. Just like that. Okay, let's get the next one in. So again, just getting some nice clean engine oil and just lubricating it all, really. The bearing itself, the shaft. Just so it's not running dry for the first few turns. Okay, make sure the shaft's the right way up. In it goes. Definitely a nice snug fit through there. Exhaust rocker arm into place. And just push her in. You just push it until the shaft lines up with the holes from the top. All right, we'll give the hands a clean and get those bolts in. Some long ones at the front. Shorter ones at the back, or on the right side when facing forward. Hand tight only.
Oh, my fingers were all oily and slippery. Just clean it off. There we go.
Okay, so they're hand tight. I better go find the torque setting for those and I'll come back to you. Well, I've had to resort to the old trusty owner's manual. I've come back to some of the technical data, and where is it? The screw rocker arm shaft, M6x30, 12 Newton meters, 8.9 pound per foot. So that's one. And the other one was over here, which is the screws for the valve covers, M6 bolts, and they are 10 Newton meters. So these bad boys here. All right, I've got my torque wrench. You think it's big enough? It's massive. So we've got to set this on 12 Newton meters. It's set on 40 at the moment, so it's way too high. And these are for the rocker arm bolts. Those 4 bolts going down through the rocker shaft. 12 Newton meters. All right.
Oh, let's hook him up.
That's one. That's two. Just a quick double check. There we go. That's all 4 done. Okay, I've given this a bit of a good clean out. I've blown everything out. There's nothing in there that's Got a fall down into the engine. I've got some old engine oil here. It's nice and clean. I'm just going to re-oil all this. If it drips into here, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that it's all nice and lubricated, this rubber seal. And I've re-oiled the face, the top of the cylinder head here. Just put a little bit more around that there, so it's not dry. And now you can try and wriggle this back in. Okay, goes in that way. Let's go. Down and on, like that. Well, that wasn't too bad.
There we go.
Let's torque them up. 1. Done. Done. Last one. There we go. I'll just double check then. That's it. That's 10 Newton meters done. Also, we don't want to forget this bad boy. Get that back in. Get it done up. Trusty tool. Just quite a snug fit in there. Okay guys, that's this KTM 690 rocker arm project complete in regards to what's happening here. I still have the air filter and some hoses to connect and put on the auxiliary tanks. However, what I've done here, what I've hopefully shown you, would be what you would do if you had a model the same as mine, or one that suits the same design, be maybe an 08 to a 18. I think they might have changed after that, I'm not sure. So yeah, so you would pretty much go about your business the same way as I did. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm no mechanical KTM guru. I'm just an average bloke having a go in his garage. I really enjoy working on my bikes. I love learning new things and giving things a crack. So don't take what I do as gospel. I'm sure there's other ways you could possibly do this job, or even better ways. I've just found this quite a smooth process. So if I've done something wrong or left something out, please put in the comments. I'd be interested to know, I'd appreciate that. However, it wasn't a long job at all. It took a little bit longer with the filming and so forth, but in all reality, if you weren't to do that and you just get stuck into a normal KTM without all these tanks, I reckon the job's only a couple of hours at most if you wanted to take your time and go about it. So anyway, that's where we're at now. Let's put this bike back together. In the moment of truth, we'll fire it out. We'll see if it does fire up. Cool. as I said in some of the earlier videos, this battery has gone to the battery gods, so I've got myself a new one. So we need to put this in to kick this over to see how it runs. So we'll put that in now. All right, we'll get the battery in now. Before I do that, I'll just, a bit of a trick that I do, when you're putting these nuts inside these terminals and you're trying to get the bolt to line up, that nut, for whatever reason with me, wobbles around, it falls out and I struggle. So I just jam a bit of foam in there, something that you can compress when the screw goes in, and it's not going to interfere with the thread, so it just holds the nut in place for when I'm trying to get it in. Okay, we'll connect up. This is the moment of truth, eh? Alright, got power. I can hear the fuel pump running. It's in neutral, let's try and kick it over. Now, the bike hadn't been started for over, well and truly 7 or 8 months. It seems to be idling okay. Let's see what happens when we give it a bit of gas. Success! Well, there you go. That is the KTM 690 rocker arm video done and dusted. As you would have seen, the bike was running. It seemed to be running okay. It sounded okay. I didn't hear any noises up that top end. So yeah, really happy. There's still a little bit of work to go on the bike. But in regards to the rocker arms, that is it, done and dusted. So yeah, I'm stoked, I'm happy. The bike's going, so we can move on to the next maintenance job, being the chain. I'm going to drop that oil out, and I'll see you in the next video. So ride safe, and I'll see you on the trails.